Detours. Brought to you by Sports and Spokes, the magazine for wheelchair sports and recreation. As one of the best racers of the late 90s and early 2000s, Krige Schabort won some of the most prestigious races on the circuit multiple times. To name just a few, the New York City Marathon, the Los Angeles Marathon, the Ironman Triathlon in Hawaii 2 times. That being said, his proudest accomplishment has been to host both a training camp and a 5K in his hometown of Cedartown, Georgia for 21 years. Stand by to the end of this interview to see some incredible footage of Schabort going to the wire against Canadian racer Jeff Adams in the 99 Carlsbad 5000. Hey, Krige, so tomorrow is the 21st running of Cedartown, and I just can hardly believe that. I was there in the year 2000 when you guys opened the camp up. What a great event you guys have established there. You've got a whole town. Your town has really embraced this event. How the heck did you keep this going for 21 years?
Yeah, good question there. No, I think the answer is just great support from the community. If you don't have people that's going to be behind you, help with the sponsors and motivate this thing to go on, it's not going to happen. And if there's no athletes going to show up, that's also not going to happen. So, to have the community, the athletes coming to support it, and of course, Peachtree is always a big carrot for guys to come here.
So at one point in time, the event was really designed around as a bridge of a gap so that people could get from, the big race that we had up in Long Island down to Peachtree, so everyone didn't have to go home. And that was the initial concept, but it's become more than that, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, that's how Frans Niedersbach and Ernst and the guy from New Zealand, Ben Lucas, they used to come visit. We did a 10K in Long Island, and then I had a couple of weeks between Long Island and Peachtree, so we would chill at my house, and just a full house. Karen said day before yesterday, she said she remember coming home after work, and we lie on the couches like bad dogs. We trained in the morning, and the rest of the day we just hang out and have fun. And then at some point, we thought, well, let's do something in between. Let's do something between Long Island and Peachtree. So that's how the idea started in 1999, and the year 2000 we had the first one. Still going. But, who can complain if you have a wheelchair race only that's successful and popular?
Just looking back over the time, I know there were a lot of people involved. I know there were a lot of town members involved. You had the Reverend Dave Grove and so many other people. But how did you go about convincing people that you wanted to have world-class wheelchair racers come to town and stay there for a number of days leading into another event?
You know what? That's a good question about that first year. The first year when I went to Australia in the beginning of 2000. So my plan was to hand out little invitation cards. It was Chantel, Petitclerc, the hot races of those years was really important to bring here to make it a popular event right away. So I was so nervous, like today, 24 years ago, I was so nervous. I thought no one is going to arrive. But they arrived. I think we were 23 athletes at first. You were here. It was a small group. It wasn't that big of a group. But we had the fastest guy. We had a lot of fast guys here. And I think if you have fast guys at a race, it immediately shows something, right? There's fast times. Things happen there. And I think if you only have it as a little training camp initially and not a fast race, it's hard to build a momentum. So luckily we have a good fast course. It's technical and also fast. And most of us did our PBs here. I've done my fastest 5K race ever here. So those little things count. And of course the locals, they watch Peachtree 10K race every year on the 4th in the mornings. They sip their coffee, and then they see, wow, there's wheelchair athletes. Oh, wow, these guys were actually in Cedartown a couple of days before we raced in Atlanta. And that is something that people would feed off of here. You know, they love seeing that, you know. So, and to bring sponsors in, Bob, is not easy. You know, it's in our sport, it's, you know, if you have a running event that's connected to a wheelchair event that's connected to a big running event, it's a little bit easier to create, you know, interest with sponsors. So we have to, you know, use little sponsors but a lot of little sponsors to make it happen. But luckily, you know, if we didn't have Peachtree, right, you know, so close with us, it would have been hard to do this.
We'd like to take a minute to thank our sponsor, Sports and Spokes magazine. For nearly 50 years, they've produced stories on iconic athletes performing at the top of their game, given generational coverage of sports dating back to the 1970s, and they've shown the way with exciting and timeless magazine cover shots. To stay on top of all the latest news from the world of high-performance adaptive sports, go to sportsandspokes.com. Sports and Spokes, the magazine for wheelchair sports and recreation. Hey, Krige, that's let me jump in for a sec because I think this is a pretty interesting transition. When I was thinking about the event and thinking back to those early years, you talked about guys like Ben Lucas and Chantel, and I was thinking about some of the people that passed through your camp. And when you think about it, here's this little tiny town, about 50, 70 miles out of Atlanta, and you guys attract some very high level athletes. And I was thinking, wow, who were some of those people? And Ernst Van Dyke, 10-time Boston Marathon winner, 25-time Paralympic medalist Chantal Petitclerc, 13-time medalist Jeff Adams from Canada, and now you got Daniel Romanchuk. You've had some really, really fine athletes pass through your town.
Oh, yes. Name it, they were here. You know, we had some of the top Japanese athletes. It's a little bit hard to get the Asian athletes here still. European athletes, we have Geert here from, he just won New York City Half Marathon earlier this year. He won Paris Marathon not too long ago. So we're building on the newer guys coming in now. So there's about 10 new names here this year that, you know, that's bringing up the guys from the bottom end and also, you know, the top guys too.
So I'm thinking back on some of the comical moments of your event. One of them, I believe, was it Jeff Adams who ended up running his chair into a lake?
Well, yes, that was the. What happened there was, you know, that first there's a long straightaway, and then after the start, long straightaway, then you make a hard right by the lake, and that is a pretty hard right, but. It's not only that, everyone wants to be kind of in the lead then. You cannot really drop back to far. Yeah, so you want to be kind of in the lead. And Jeff was there. He was right up front there. And I remember, so kind of my peripheral vision, I just saw someone went straight into the lake. I didn't know it was him. So I guess he missed his steering or whatever, you know, and he went into the lake. And, you know, Jeff Adams, you know, it's for his ego, it was a tough one to deal with. Yeah. So
yeah, nothing more needs to be said. Jeff was definitely our character, wasn't he? You know, beyond that, Krige, I want you to think about the years, the 21 years that you've had the event in town. And if you can, I mean, I know you're probably in a reflective moment now because the event is coming up just, tomorrow. So thinking back, what were some of the more seriously memorable events you've had over the time that Cedartown's been run?
Well, you know, each and every year is very memorable to me. You know, I would say the year 2000 was a standout for me just because it happened. 2007, it was the World Championship. I believe David Ware or Kurt won. I can't remember. I have to go back and check. And that was also the course record year. 2007, we had 78 athletes here. Now, for a little town like Cedartown, with, you know, the streets isn't that big, 78 athletes racing year that was phenomenal. Other years was, you know, when you think heavy rain and thunderstorms rolling in. One year, I thought we're definitely going to have to cancel it. And I think that was in 2010 2 or 3. And we thought, okay, we might just have to cancel it. We sat out, we found roof under trees and roofs and so on, cleared up, and then Ernst, I mean, he nailed it. Yeah, Ernst van Dijk, he had a good race that year. He won it. And then I believe in 2013, we also had a World Championship year. It was a little bit a harder year to get so many athletes in, but it also was a hard year for us. And then the years it was not so much fun was the years we decided not to have it because of the Paralympics. This year we decided, because we have the series behind me, the Triple Crown series, we decided we got to keep going with this event because we don't want to lose out on the Triple Crown series. So now we feel like we can build a little bit on that momentum as well with the series.
Well, you're coming up on Peachtree. Peachtree, as everybody knows, is one of the most significant races on the circuit when it comes to a short distance race. So many great winners there, including yourself. But the Triple Cup you mentioned, you've got 3 races. It kicks off in Cedartown, and then we got Peachtree coming up on the 4th of July. And right after that, the Boilermaker 15K. So you must be very proud of what it is you've done here. And, I just want to say, Cedartown is a fond memory for me. And one of the things I've always been impressed by is you've always done really good things. And I think that this event is just a really great event. And I think that the athletes that have come there have really enjoyed it over the years.
For you to say that is an honor. Thank you so much.
In the 99 edition of the Carlsbad 5000, 4 racers take the final left-hand turn together. Keith Davis, Krige Schabort, Jeff Adams, and Mexico's Aaron Gordian. And it's the long, straight signature downhill finish that made Carlsbad well known for record-setting performances.
Come on, let's go, guys!